Okay, listen.
Yeah.
No cancelling. Friday,
Okay.
7 p.m.
Okay.
Badminton, please.
Bro, I have to watch the football match.
Football match?
Yeah.
When did you start watching football?
Because all of my friends are talking about it and they are all having these crazy conversations and I feel so left out because I don't know what they are talking about. So I have to watch it, man. I'm sorry.
You see, that's what we call peer pressure. And I'm sure you also must have been going through the same thing. Sometimes you don't like something, but to fit in, you do it.
Yeah, and it's crazy how much we change ourselves just to fit in.
Yeah, I don't know why she does this, but let's talk about it.
I'm Em.
And I'm Jay.
And you're watching
Point of Youth,
where we talk about stuff youth are actually dealing with, but don't always say out loud.
A space where your voice, your experience, and your point of view actually matter.
So before we get into it, you know what time it is. Okay, so how many teenagers do you think have agreed on experiencing peer pressure?
Okay, I don't know. Give me some options.
Okay, 40%, 60%, or 90%?
40%.
Around 90%.
90%?
Yeah.
Dude, that's the entire population.
Exactly. Okay, next one. How many teenagers do you think have engaged into activities just because others are doing it?
Options.
55%, 65%, or 75%?
55%.
75%. That's
that's insanely high.
Exactly. Why does peer pressure affect us so deeply, especially when we're younger?
And how do we stop it from controlling the choices we make?
So we spoke to an expert to help us understand this better.
So peer pressure is something we all experienced. However, it is much more prominent among young people. Why? Because our brain is literally not ready. For example, your friends want you to skip class. You know it's wrong, but at that moment, with everyone watching and waiting, you go along with it. That's a developing brain under pressure. The part of the brain that says, think about the consequences. The prefrontal cortex isn't fully formed until the age of 25. But the part that screams, what will they think of me, is running at full power. We call this social comparison anxiety, which is the stress and inadequacy that arises from measuring your life, achievements, or appearances against others. It is highly amplified by social media, where people constantly compare their everyday realities to the curated, idealized highlights of peers and influences. And it's particularly cruel because the thing that you are comparing yourself to, that perfect life on screen, does not really exist. Now let's talk about conformity, because this is where it gets even more subtle. Let's understand this with an example. A boy loved reading classical literature and philosophy and was genuinely passionate about it. But he never talked about it at school, never posted about it. Because in his feed, what got likes was fitness, gaming, and following specific trends. So slowly, he stopped mentioning the books. He started posting what performed well. He shaped himself around what the algorithms rewarded. He didn't even realize it was happening. That's how conformity works on social media. It's not someone telling you to change. It's 1,000 small signals telling you what is valued and what is invisible. And when you are a teenager, still figuring out who you are, those signals are incredibly powerful. Now let's look at the difference between healthy influence and harmful peer pressure. Healthy influence lifts you towards a better version of yourself, and it never asks you to lose yourself in the process. Let me give you an example. A teenage boy, quiet, slightly withdrawn, does not believe he was smart. He started spending time with a group of students who took their studies seriously. Not because they pressured him, but because being around them made him want to try harder. He started studying more, his grades improved, his confidence grew, and at no point did anyone tell him he had to change. He changed because the environment inspired him. That is a healthy influence. It expands who you are. It adds to you. It makes you feel capable and motivated, not anxious and afraid. Now let's look at what harmful peer pressure looks like. 17-year-old girl, thoughtful, had a strong sense of right and wrong. She joined a new friend group in school. At first, everything felt exciting. She finally felt like she belonged. But slowly, small things started happening. The group began making fun of a quieter classmate. She felt uncomfortable but stayed silent because she did not want to be next. Then, they started skipping school. She didn't even want to but went along because the alternative was being left out. Then they pressured her into lying to her parents about where she was going. Each step felt small. Each step felt survivable. But each step took her further from herself. That is harmful peer pressure. It does not always arrive loudly. It creeps in quietly, one compromises at a time, until you are drifted so far away from your own values that you feel lost. Sometimes peer pressure has no words at all. No one says, do this or we'll drop you. It's just a look, a silence, an eyebrow raised, the group laughing at something and you laughing too, even when nothing felt funny. That silent pressure is often the most powerful kind because it does not feel like pressure from outside, it feels like your own choice, and that's exactly what makes it so hard to resist. Research shows that exposure to harmful peer pressure, such as pressure to engage in risky behavior or conform to unrealistic standards, can contribute to anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. Now let's look at some practical ways young people can recognize when they are being pressured. 1. Realize that true friends respect boundaries. If you feel like you must do something or act in a certain way just to keep someone's approval or to fit in, that is a clear sign of pressure. 2. Pressure isn't always aggressive. Watch out for guilt trips. If you were my real friend, you would do this. Or backhanded compliments. You are too cool to care about that. Or passive-aggressive silence. 3. When unsure, ask to use the restroom, pretend to check your phone, or simply walk away. Taking a few minutes of physical distance helps you to think clearly outside the heat of the moment. And 4. If a suggestion makes your stomach drop, gives you a headache, or causes sudden anxiety, that is a warning flag that something feels wrong.
Whoa, that just opened my eyes.
Yeah, so basically peer pressure only gets stronger when we stop thinking for ourselves.
Exactly. I mean, it's like the first step is noticing it. Pause and ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to or because I feel pressured to?
And second, practice small acts of honesty. Say no to something you're uncomfortable with or share your real opinion even if it's different.
And finally, surround yourself with people who let you be yourself instead of forcing you to fit in a certain image.
Because the goal isn't to reject people or act superior to them. It's just learning how to stay true to yourself even when there's pressure around you.
Yeah, peer pressure may never fully disappear, but the more confident you become in who you are, the less power it has over you.
And that's how we begin to change the narrative. From I have to fit in, I have to get to be myself.
Exactly. And now we're gonna have
Spin the wheel! Every week we spin the wheel. And the thing that it lands on is your challenge for the week. And this week's task is...
Once you've tried it out, let us know. Please let us know how it went in the comments below. Also, what are your thoughts on peer pressure? Does it affect you at all? Share your peer pressure stories with us in the comments below.
Until next time, I'm Em.
And I'm Jay.
And this is
Point of Youth,
where your story, your voice, and your point of view actually matter.
See you next week.
This has been your